Hello everyone, this is Greyshot151 here, and today, in this new What If, yes, What Ifs are back, and I will be doing 3 episodes for the remainder of the year. And for October's entry, we have a What If that is close to my heart in regards to genre. I want to do something a little bit more fun for Halloween. I was asked by 117 the strangest What If I could, and well, I think I found the answer, featuring Godzilla and Gamera. These two titans of the Japanese box office have shockingly never crossed paths in any film, minus a stage play, but that's its own can of worms. Now, why was this? Well, it's more so in the studio behind Godzilla, Toho, than anything else. But today, these two titans will finally clash. Also, this is including all the times they've done so over on the KWC, which I am definitely not recommending you check out. It'd be crazy for you to read all those fantastic stories, featuring Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman, and more, and enjoy all those wonderful banners used to represent those stories. But yeah, excluding those definitely not highlighted things, I ask, what if Gamera was in the Godzilla universe? To specify here, I'm going to be placing the 90s Gamera universe into the Heisei Godzilla films. So in any case, it's a Halloween What If. Enjoy. The beginning of the Heisei timeline starts off like it normally did. Godzilla annihilates Tokyo under atomic flame in 1954, with its carnage only ending with the deployment of the Oxygen Destroyer, allowing Japan to rebuild until 1984. A new Godzilla appears, rampages, is sealed in a volcano, and eventually does battle with his botanical clone, Biollante, in 1989. Yes, the movies are weird. Moving on. Now, events only begin to change in this new universe as the Futurians arrive in 1991, stating that their future is not destroyed by Godzilla alone, but also by a horde of flying reptilian creatures called the Gauss. The events of the film proceed normally, with Mecha King Ghidorah and Godzilla falling into the sea, setting the stage for a meteor to strike the Earth in 1992. The effects of the impact are immediate. Deep within Ogasawara Trench, the epicenter of the impact, Godzilla awakens from his slumber. The rising superheated vapors creates a monolithic storm which takes all the Pacific in its grasp. Infant Island, home of Mothra, is beset by chaos, unearthing Mothra's long-hidden egg, while Batra, the dark moth of Earth, proceeds to awaken in the Arctic. Now, with all this geologic activity, I believe this would be the moment the Gauss awaken on Gato Island from their ancient slumber. Meanwhile, back in the Pacific, as ships struggle against the waves, a massive atoll is spotted. Once the storm passes, the Japanese government, in cooperation with the United Nations, would send out teams to investigate the damage created by the meteorite's impact. To Infant Island, you would see the Muratomo Company find a way to send its own team. Meanwhile, the atoll would be investigated by Noya Kusanagi. Yoshinari, who was in the 95 Gamera film, wouldn't be in this as the atoll never impacts his vessel directly, therefore he is never involved in any of this. Regardless, the teams go forth while Batra beelines to the Sea of Japan to destroy the gravest threat on the Earth in its eyes. Not humanity, not yet, but the shadow of evil growing in size on Gato Island. Batra is spotted crossing the Sea of Japan, forcing the Japanese to deploy naval and aero units to stop the Dark Mothra. Their forces fail, forcing the government to evacuate all in its way. As people arrive at Gato Island, they discover the island in shambles from an apparent attack from an unknown aggressor. Before they can investigate, Batra makes landfall, setting this island ablaze with its prism eye lasers and horn beams. The inferno is so bright, people can't even look in the island's direction, allowing a single crimson creature to slip away from the devastation. Batra notices the escaping creature, but declines to give chase, having sensed another of its kind, Mothra. Without further hesitation, Batra dives into the ground and makes its way toward Infant Island. Mothra's egg is found and the Muratomo Company offers to move the egg, and as they place it on a supersized barge for transport with approval from the cosmos, Godzilla arrives. Mothra hatches and fights Godzilla, merely to be thrown around with little regard. That is until Batra arrives and does battle with both Mothra and Godzilla. Mothra retreats in the chaos, while Godzilla and Batra engage the other, disappearing into the lava of an undersea volcano. Meanwhile, back on the atoll, work would be slow going. Without Yoshinari's input, I believe it would take longer for the shrine to be found, but don't worry, plenty of amulets are discovered and taken back for research. This progression is unlike the lone Gauss, which is growing in size very quickly in mainland Japan. Its transformation into a super Gauss wouldn't be more than a day or two away, as it stealthily slaughters all in its path. So you might be asking, what about Mothra after she just, beelined it away from Godzilla and Batra? Well, she makes landfall in Japan to save the Cosmos, who were captured by the Muratomo Company, because of course a company would try to make a metric ton of money if they could, given a situation. I mean, so strange a thought. With the government's forces focused on Mothra, Reports of the Gauss are slow to process and more likely ignored. Mothra transforms into her Imago state, and with the burst of power, she senses a grave threat growing within Japan, the Super Gauss. See, in this timeline, the Cosmos, who have been Guardians Mothra for thousands of years, would know of the Gauss and the civilization which created the beasts, and eventually was destroyed by them. The danger of a Gauss reproducing would be something all too familiar to them. With this knowledge, Mothra would decide to prioritize the Gauss destruction and move to intercept the Shadow of Evil, who is currently on a flight path to Tokyo from the Kiso mountain range. As the pair fly toward their confrontation, Batra reappears in the Pacific, having survived his encounter with Godzilla. Likewise, Godzilla bursts from Mount Fuji, escaping his molten tomb. Sensing all the disturbances, Gamera finally awakens from his long slumber, forcing Noyoya's team, who are currently on his back, to flee in absolute terror. So, back in Tokyo, Mothra would move to engage the Gauss, but the Shadow of Evil's keen senses forewarn the beast of the approaching Guardian. The duo engage in aerial combat, but to Mothra's horror, her attacks fail to strike as the Gauss demonstrates its superior agility in the air. Mothra may be 3 times as fast, flying at Mach 3 compared to Gauss's top speed at Mach 1, but the Gauss is too agile, while Mothra's static movement in the air proves rather predictable for the super predator. As a sonic ray impales Mothra through the chest, her fight seems all but lost until Batra arrives. Mothra keeps it to a distance as Batra and Gauss then duke it out, the Dark Moth's armor proving far more effective in stopping Gauss's signature weapon. After a few aerial tackles, the fight ends in Yokohama's Cosmo World as Batra blasts Gauss out of the air into a man-made structure. With the Gauss taken care of, Batra would move to kill Mothra and unleash a concentrated barrage of his eye prism beams upon the Guardian. In an explosion of sparks, Mothra would fall from the sky, merely for an azure beam of atomic fire engulf her form. Fires coursing across her wings and body, Mothra plummets into Yokohama proper. Not dead, but in no state to continue the fight, as Godzilla roars of his victory and arrival. A bit ticked off that his ancient rival is now been beaten by some upstart, Batra would move to engage Godzilla, but his Imago form is no match against the rejuvenated nuclear Leviathan. While he doesn't go down without a few strikes, eventually Batra is blasted into the nearby Ferris wheel, which bends around his form, forming a molten cage. Batra would move to finish off the Dark Moth, but a sonic ray strikes the back of his head. Now, the sonic ray would usually cut through most creatures with ease, ensuring the Gauss a kill shot with its precision. But, as Godzilla turns, he realizes this Leviathan does not play by those rules. Fire burning within its jaws and its thick hide barely cut, the Super Gauss realizes it ensured it not victory, but death. Atomic flame detonates across the Shadow of Evil, turning him to ash. But as his deathly cry reverberates the battlefield, a new monster arises from Yokohama Harbor. Godzilla glares at this newcomer, the guardian of the universe, Gamera. Having bested 3 monsters at this point, Godzilla would be in no mood to simply ignore the new arrival. Atomic fire scorches the surprised Gamera, who originally arrived to eliminate the Gauss, but with the fight started, he would move to end it. The pair enter a vicious round of melee combat, ending as Gamera impales an elbow claw into Godzilla's gut. Blood spurts out of Godzilla's jaws before atomic fire follows. The burst of power floors Gamera, forcing him back away from Godzilla. Yet to the nuclear Leviathan's surprise, he remains standing, ready to continue the fight. With each sharing a glare at the other, they are both caught by surprise when explosions of violet energy detonate across them both. Batra re-enters the fray, blasting Godzilla and Gamera continuously with his eye beams. Godzilla shudders from the barrage, but Gamera, having had enough of being on the back foot, unleashes his signature weapon, the Plasma Fireball, at his 2 opponents, engulfing Godzilla and Batra in uncontrollable fire. As the smoke clears, Batra is reduced to a fiery corpse, while an injured Godzilla wades through the cloud of dust. The two continue to brawl, but the victor proves rather clear as a nuclear pulse launches Gamera's charred body back into the bay. Godzilla, roaring triumphantly as he enters the bay, is the clear winner of this monstrous clash before he disappears into the ocean's depths. So you might be wondering why Godzilla won if it was mostly a 4-on-1 fight, especially with Gamera fighting him, but the main answer is Gamera wouldn't have the strength of a human connection, so his power reserves would be severely low, especially after just awakening. This would mean the Terrapin's regeneration would also be significantly strained without that human connection, and his time to heal, all the horrendous wounds across his body would be exorbitant. Gamera, though, is alive, and he's going to be able to fight another day, just like Mothra. A clear sign that Godzilla took a considerable amount of damage since he showed no interest in finishing them off. So after the brawl, Mothra awakens to a destroyed Yokohama, but with little energy, she lacks the strength to chase down and finish off or even fight Godzilla. Instead, her focus is on approaching Meteor, which is on its way to Earth and will strike in 1999. Like in the film, she flies into space to destroy the object while the cosmos return to Infant Island. Peace begins to settle, at least for now. So, do you remember that team investigating the atoll? While Noia might lack the knowledge of what the giant turtle creature they discovered exactly is, I believe he would eventually seek help from Miki Sayagusa after nearly a year of little progress, a psychic employed by the Japanese Self-Defense Force. Why? Well, his daughter is actually being taught by her after showing some minor psychic abilities. Well, really, Miki's the one that found her. Asagi Kusanagi, Noia's daughter, really doesn't even believe she deserves to be in the class since she shows no obvious psychic talent. For those curious what I'm pulling from, see Godzilla Legends number 3. Highly recommended. Noia reluctantly bestows Miki some orichalcum amulets found on Gamera's rock-covered shell, in the hopes that she could maybe connect with the creature. Sadly, while she does sense something, she isn't able to do much. Instead, she allows her students to take a look at the amulets. Most like her can sense something, but can't quite make it out. This is not the case for Asagi, who causes the amulet to glow and immediately forms a link to Gamera. Miki, to her shock, senses the connection and can't believe its strength. Compared to her natural link with Godzilla, the psychic link on display makes hers look like child's play. Miki seeks advice from the Cosmos, who inform her of Godzilla as well as the Gauss's past. With this information, she informs the government of the, up to this point, unidentified monsters. She also informs them of the new information from Asagi, who claims Godzilla will soon return, to face off with Godzilla once more. Now, the Japanese haven't sat by while Yokohama was destroyed and Godzilla rests off their shores. They developed with the United Nations multiple anti-kaiju machines, the Garuda and Mechagodzilla, in case the nuclear behemoth or this supposed guardian of the universe were to return. By the way, I'm saying this right now, if I axe all these names, I apologize. I am mortal. Meanwhile, ornithologist Mayumi Nagamine and a scientific expedition investigate Adona Island after a sighting of a giant bird-like creature. While they expect the Gauss, instead they discover large eggs and eventually the terror of the skies himself, Rodan. Godzilla cuts Rodan in appearance short as the two engage in combat. The team takes a pristine egg found on the island, but unlike the film, there is no confusion as to the egg's origin. I believe Mayumi would know that this isn't an egg of avian origin, so when the egg arrives in Kyoto and hatches revealing a Godzillasaurus, there isn't an overwhelming surprise. Miki, with Asagi and company, visit the young Saurian and grows attached to the new arrival, but a general rift begins to split the pair. For Miki, she can see the good in Godzilla, the tragedy of his character, and why he shouldn't be killed. Meanwhile, Asagi, under a bit of influence from Gamera, will be able to see the good in this Godzillasaurus. Again, it's childlike, hasn't done anything, it's a vegetarian, but increasingly believes Godzilla is one of the biggest threats to the Earth. Personally, I'd be on Asagi's side after 4 movies of Godzilla massacring thousands of Japanese, nearly killing 2 guardians of the planet, and basically attacking everything in its way. But different perspectives. Different perspectives. Anyway, their time of study and reflection is cut short when the King of the Monsters makes landfall. The United Nations and Japan launch Mechagodzilla in response, while Asagi informs Miki that Gamera is in fact on his way to do battle with Godzilla. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla clash as they did in the film timeline, with Mechagodzilla having the clear advantage. But as something is picked up on radar moving at Mach 3 toward the battling titans, the Japanese government grows increasingly worried. Wanting to avoid the destruction of their prized anti-kaiju mech, anti-missile batteries launch across Japan, filling the sky with trails of smoke. But the mysterious object ignores the barrage and ignites the Godzillas in an endless sea of fire. When both turn to face their new arrival, they discover a flying saucer descending from the sky, which morphs into Gamera, who's ready for round 2. Again, if you think Mechagodzilla is going to risk a free-for-all in this situation, think again. The mech is ordered to retreat, allowing Godzilla and Gamera to employ brutal one-on-one combat. No outside interference, this is the fight most fans would want to see if they could. With greater strength, firepower, and incredible regeneration, you may think Godzilla would have the edge in this duel. But as the battle progresses, it becomes more evident the tide of battle is turning against him. After taking considerable damage from his bout with Mechagodzilla, Godzilla can't overcome a now powered up Gamera, who also has the edge in durability, agility, and experience. Fight only ends as Gamera fires a point-blank fireball at Godzilla's chest, turning it hollow and putting the King of the Monsters down. With a muffled cry, Godzilla falls forward onto his abdomen, dead. Gamera stands victorious over the fallen king, with Mickey horrified as a result. As quickly as he arrived, Gamera retreats back to the sea, ending the part for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed that stranger what if. Honestly, it was a blast to write, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. But let me know below what your thoughts are for the future. Is Godzilla really dead? Will Mechagodzilla now fight Gamera? Find out next time, if I do a part 2. In the meantime, if you want a hint on what's coming up in November, it's going to deal with the United States, and it's what if I've been looking forward to for a long time. In any case, I will catch you all on that what if. See you guys next time.